Okay, let's start today's session. In previous sessions, we have discussed BPC core components, environment, model, dimension, property, member, and we have discussed how to create environment. Yesterday, I forgot to send this manual to you. Today, I'll be sending for sure. And yesterday, we have discussed dimensions and their types. So total we have 10 dimensions, 9 standard type dimensions and 1 user defined dimensions. And what is the purpose of each dimension we have discussed? Account type is A, contains chart of accounts. Audit trail, data source type is a D, it contains source of information. Category type is a C, it contains version of data. Currency type is R, it contains currencies information. Entity type is E, it can contain anything like company code, cost center, profit center, department, project, anything. Flow or subtables type is yes, data moments will be captured using this. Group dimension type is a G, and it contains organization, grouping structure. And intercompany type is I, it contains trading partner details. Time type is a T, it contains time period details. And last one is a user defined dimension, type is a U, it can contain, like if you are talking about HR planning, we don't have anything here, any standard type dimension. Or product level revenue planning, we don't have any product type dimension in standard type dimensions. So in that case, we can use user defined dimension to store product master data or customer master data, anything, right? And dimension stores master data. Dimension is nothing but it represents a business unit. Okay, and yesterday we have created a environment for our batch, environment 116. And today what we see is, first we'll try to create one dimension and I'll show you how to add properties and all, and then we'll start discussing the models. Okay, let's connect to the system. How to connect to the system? Windows R, we need to press Windows key plus R key and then type MSTSC. Okay, MSTSC, and press enter and provide the IP address provided by vendor and enter the credentials. So once you enter the credentials, you will be connecting to remote desktop. Okay, now we are in the remote desktop, and on remote desktop you can see BPC 10.1 shortcut. This is a web interface. Just double click on it, it will open the browser. Again, you need to provide the credentials, BPC credentials. These credentials will be provided by the BIS vendor, but in real time SAP security team will be there, so they will be giving us all these things. Okay, SAP security team. Okay, so as of now it is connected to environment shell. We need to change it. So our batch environment is 116. Just select that and click on connect. Okay, and this is the initial screen you can see once you connect to BPC web interface. Click on administration, and left side you can see dimensions and models. Click on dimensions, and once you get the server from the vendor, please start exploring all these things. Okay, if you get any doubts and all, you can write email with the screenshots. Okay, how to create a new dimension? Here you can see new button is there, it is enabled. Just click on new, and you need to provide ID. Let's say cost center, spaces are not allowed, and description, and type you need to select. So these are the 9 standard types. account category, audit, entity, group, intercompany, currency, subtables, time, user define. Let's say I would like to create a cost center as a entity type dimension. Just click on create. ID, description, and dimension type you need to select. Okay. So new dimension has been created with a cost center as a name. And starting it will open structure. If you want to add any properties you can add. If you want to have add any hierarchy you can add. So we'll discuss hierarchy thing maybe in the coming sessions, tomorrow session. Okay, so let's go to members. As of now it is a new dimension, there are no members. Okay, if you want to add member, just click on add. Okay, generally we'll be loading the data for dimensions. There are some other mechanisms, we'll be loading that. We'll be discussing maybe after 10 sessions. We'll get that session like data loading sessions, there we'll discuss. But if it is a like a less number of records you need to maintain, directly in the web interface only we'll maintain. But generally in real time it varies business to business, client to client. Some clients will have 2000 cost centers, some clients may have 8000, 10,000, or 20,000, 30,000, like that. Okay, so I'm just for testing purpose we are adding one thing. I'm adding one member. Okay, dummy cost center. Click on save. So you can see two buttons here, save and process. So in interviews you may get this question, what is the difference between save and process? We'll discuss now. Just for now click on save. Okay, it is saved, but we have to process. If I come back, see, you can see here it is in the yellow status, need to be processed. If you make any changes to the dimension, if you make any changes to the dimension, please make sure that you will process the dimension. So from here also you can process the dimension, or just open the dimension and click on save and process. Okay, so meanwhile I'll try to add one more property. I'll show you how to add a properties. Okay, let's come back. So if you want to add properties, select the dimension and go to the structure, and left side part is a properties, right side part is a hierarchy. Okay, so click on add new property, and let's say owner. This is a property name, this is a description, and how many characters. Let's say I'm giving 100. Click on save. So we have added a new property. And go to members, and now you can see owner property here. Okay, and now I'm clicking on save and process. What is the difference between save and process is, if you click on save, the changes whatever we made now, changes will be saved only to server level. Only changes will be updated, saved to only application level, only BPC server level. If I click on save and process, then these changes will be updated to database. Okay, so application is the like whatever we are seeing is the first level. Okay, second layer is a BPC application, third layer is a database. Okay, so whenever you click on save, the changes will be saved to just application level, just will be saved in the BPC application level. And if I click on process, save and process, then these changes will be saved to database. That is the only difference. Okay, everything should be saved to database, but let's say if I want to add some more, then I'll keep on using save, and then finally I'll use save and process. Okay, the difference between save and process is, if you click on save, the changes will be saved to application layer, application level only. If you click on save and process, then changes will be updated to database. Okay. So we have created one dimension with the type E. The dimension name is a cost center. We maintain one dummy member, no CC, dummy cost center, and we have added one property also. This is how in real time we create new dimensions and we add members, we add properties. Okay, you can explore by creating user defined. Okay, user defined things and all. So this is one user defined dimension product. This is delivered by SAP. You can edit this. Let's say I don't want to product A, product B like that. I can delete, select this, click on delete. Okay, like that we can. If I want to add one another property here, go to structure and click on add. Properties will be added. Okay. So this is how we create a dimensions properties. Hierarchy we'll discuss tomorrow session. Okay. So from this you need to remember the difference between save and process. Now let's discuss about models. So as I said, model is a combination of different dimensions. Model is a combination of different dimensions to meet the planning requirements. Let's say sales planning, generally we have these kind of dimensions, but it may vary. Okay, again, and operational expenditure, capex. Okay, what is a model? It is a collection of dimensions, and we use a model to store transactional data. We use a model to store transactional data, and there are two categories in the models. Two categories. One is a reporting category, another one is a drivers and rates category. So we have two types. One is a reporting, another one is a drivers and rates. The other name for drivers and rates is a supporting models. Supporting models. So under reporting category, we have three types: standard, finance, consolidation. Okay, standard, finance, consolidation. And under drivers and rates category, we have rates, ownership, generic. Rates, ownership, generic. The other name for drivers and rates is supporting models. Okay, so what is the purpose of reporting category models? So reporting models will be used for our planning purpose. Okay, as I said, sales planning, OPEX planning, CAPEX planning, anything, HR planning, budgeting. Okay, reporting type models will be used for planning, consolidation, and analysis, financial analysis. So like input forms, reports, and all will be on top of these models. Okay, if you want to do some planning, you need to have an input form. Through input form only you will be saving the data, plan data, right? And if you want to do analysis, you need to have a reports, correct? You'll be creating reports on top of this reporting type models. Okay, reporting type models will be used for planning, consolidation, and for financial analysis purpose. And drivers and rates type models. Drivers and rates type models, so other name is supporting models. So these models will be used to support these reporting type models. Support to these models will be used to support reporting type models. Okay, so drivers and rates models will be used to store exchange rates for currency conversion, ownership data to perform consolidation, generic to store historical data. So finally, these models will be supporting this reporting models. Okay, all the reports will be on top of this models. All the planning, schedules, input templates, everything will happens on top of reporting type models, and drivers and rates models will be supporting these reporting models. Okay, so in the coming session you will be able to understand. Okay, let's discuss what is the purpose of standard model. Standard model will be used for a simple planning scenarios. Standard model will be used for simple planning scenarios, and finance type model will be used for a complex planning scenarios. Standard type model will be used for simple planning scenarios. Finance type model will be used for complex planning scenarios. And consolidation model will be used for consolidation purpose. Okay, so for planning we use these two models. For consolidation we use consolidation type model. So in my experience, we used only finance type model because there will not be any simple planning scenarios, right? So always we go with the finance type model. There is some difference between a standard model and finance model. What is the difference between a standard model and finance model is standard model don't support currency conversion. Standard model will not support standard model will not support currency conversion, whereas a finance model supports currency conversion. Okay, that is the only difference. But these days every organization is doing business in multiple countries, right? They want to have a currency conversion, correct? So standard model don't support currency conversion, but there is other mechanism. With the help of that we can do currency conversion in standard model also, but that is not the best practice. Okay, so finance model supports currency conversion. That's why we always go with the finance type model for a planning, and we always go with the consolidation type model for consolidation. Okay, so if you want to create standard model, so these dimensions are mandatory: account, category, entity, and time. Four dimensions are mandatory. Without these type dimensions, you cannot create a standard model. Okay, and finance model. Finance type model, we need extra one, that is a currency R. Currency dimension type is R. So to create a finance type model, we need five mandatory dimensions. One is account, second one is a category, third one is entity, fourth one is a time, and fifth one is a currency R, because it supports currency conversion, right? So that's why it is a mandatory. Okay, in interviews you may get this question: what are all the mandatory dimensions to create a standard model or to create a finance model? And for consolidation model will be used for legal consolidation and management consolidation, and all nine standard type dimensions are mandatory. For consolidation model, all nine standard type dimensions are mandatory. Okay, so this is about reporting type dimensions. So reporting type dimensions are three: standard, finance, and consolidation. These dimensions will be used for planning and consolidation purpose and financial analysis purpose. All the input forms and reports will be on top of these three models. So standard model will be used for simple planning scenarios where there is no need of currency conversion, and finance model will be used for complex planning scenarios where it supports currency conversion, and third one is a consolidation type model, and this model will be used for legal consolidation and managerial consolidation. So to create a standard model, account, category, entity, time, these four dimensions are mandatory. To create finance type model, account, category, entity, time, and currency is also mandatory dimensions. Total five mandatory dimensions. And to create consolidation model, all nine standard type dimensions are mandatory. All nine standard type dimensions are mandatory. Okay, so and coming to drivers and rates model. So these are supporting models. These will be supporting these models. Okay, so rates model. Rates model will be used to store exchange rates information. Rates model will be used to store exchange rates information. So if you want to perform currency conversion, you need to have exchange rate between different currencies. Okay, for example, Amazon want to do the currency conversion. They want to see all the business happen in India in dollars. Then they need to have an exchange rate between INR and USD. So that kind of exchange rates will be maintained in rates model. Okay, rates model will be used to store exchange rates. And ownership model will be used to store ownership details. Let's say Google company is there and they have invested some in Amazon and in Facebook and in WhatsApp or something like that. So the how much percentage they have invested in other companies and all, that ownership details will be maintained in ownership model. Okay, and the last one is a generic model. Generally, we never used it so far. Even SAP don't have any proper reason why there is a generic model, but we can use it to store historical data. Generic model, we can use it to store historical data. That's it. There is no any special purpose for this generic type model. Okay, generic type model is just like a standard model. So four dimensions are mandatory. For a range model, again ACET account, category, entity, time and rate type dimensions are mandatory. For ownership, same ACET and group dimension. Okay, ACET and group dimension are mandatory. So drivers and rates type models are three. So we call these as a supporting models. And rates model will be used to store exchange rates information. Ownership model will be used to store ownership details. Generic model will be used to store historical data. We can store historical data in standard model, finance model and consolidation model also. So that's why we don't use at all this model. Okay, so this is about dimension types. So we have two categories, reporting and drivers and rates. So these three are reporting diamond type models and these are supporting type models. Okay, and coming to the difference between this reporting type models. So standard model supports planning, but it don't support currency conversion, it don't support consolidation also. Okay, coming to finance model. So finance model support planning and currency conversion, but it won't support consolidation, whereas consolidation type model supports planning, currency conversion and consolidation. Okay, consolidation model type model supports these three: planning, currency conversion and consolidation. So for planning, the best practice is we go with a finance type model. For consolidation, we go with a consolidation type model. This is the difference between these three models. Okay, and as I said, these are the supporting models, right? Whenever you want to create a finance type model, we need rates model as a supporting model. We need rates model as a supporting model. Reason is finance model supports currency conversion. So if you want to perform any currency conversion, then you need exchange rates information, right? Exchange rates information will be stored in rates model. That's why if you want to create finance type model, rates model is a prerequisite. Rates model is a prerequisite. And if you want to create a consolidation, if you want to create consolidation type model, rates and ownership models are prerequisites. Okay, before you create a finance type model, you should have a rates model in place. Before you create a consolidation model, you should have a rates and ownership model in place. Okay, this is about models. It is a very important thing. So model is nothing but a combination of dimensions, and it will be used to store transactional data based on the planning requirement. Will be having different dimensions. Okay, and we have two categories: reporting, drivers and rates. Reporting are three: standard, finance, consolidation. Drivers and rates or supporting models are three: rates, ownership and generic. Okay, so this is about models. Okay, so standard model will be used for simple planning scenario, and mandatory dimensions are account, category, entity, time. Finance model used for complex planning scenarios where we require currency conversion. So account, category, entity, time and currency are mandatory. Third one is a consolidation. It will be used for legal consolidation and managerial consolidation, and all standard type dimensions are mandatory. And rates type model will be used to store exchange rates information. Ownership model will be used to store ownership information, and generic model will be used to store historical data. And differences between reporting models are: standard model supports planning but not currency conversion and consolidation. Finance supports planning and currency conversion but not consolidation. Consolidation model supports planning, currency conversion and consolidation, but we don't go with the consolidation model for a planning. The reason is, for consolidation model all standard type dimensions are mandatory, but in the planning we don't need to have a scope dimension, group dimension in the planning. Why to have a extra dimensions for the planning? So that's why we always go with a finance type model for planning and consolidation type model for a consolidation. These are the prerequisites. If you want to create finance type model, rates model is a prerequisite because it supports currency conversion. And if you want to create consolidation model, rates and ownership models are prerequisites. Okay, that is about this models. And coming to data storage. So whenever you are creating a model, you need to select data storage method, data storage type. Okay, so there are two type of data storages in BPC. Two types of data storages. One is a periodic, another one is a YTD, year to date. One is a periodic, another one is a YTD, year to date. Remember that for planning we always go with periodic. For planning we always go with the periodic. For consolidation we always go with the YTD. For planning, we always go with the periodic. For consolidation, we always go with the YTD. So now let's discuss what is the difference between periodic and YTD. What is the difference between periodic and YTD? So let's say there is a product A, and out of product A, we were able to generate $100 revenue in January. In January, it is a period. January is a one period, February is a one period, March is a one period, right? So in time dimension we have a periods information. So default we BPC consider month as a one period, but still we can break down it into weeks also. But nobody don't go that much granular level, right? Every week if they want to do planning, and they'll be spending most of the time in planning only, but when they will be spending time for analysis and decision making. So that's why month will be considered as a basic period in BPC. Okay, Jan, Feb, March are periods. So in January we were able to make $100 revenue on product A, let's imagine, and in February $150, in March $200. Okay, when you are reporting this in periodic format, it will be just like this, simple. Just in January 100, in February 150, in March 200. This is a straightforward. When you want to report same values in YTD format, when you want to report same data in YTD format, then see YTD for a starting month, it will be same. For a starting month, it will be same. Coming to February, it will display it as a 250. This 250, how it is coming? Summation of 100 and 150 is a 200. And 450, summation of 100, 150 and 200 is a 450. Like, it will show always the total values. It will show always the total values in that year. Okay, so in January the total value is 100 only, but in February it will be the summation of both Jan and February. In the March it will be the summation of Jan, February and March. This is a YTD values. Okay, so YTD is nothing but previous period YTD value plus current period periodic value. 450 is equal to previous period YTD value is 250 and current period periodic value is a 200. It is a 450. Okay, don't get confused here. So periodic is a straightforward, and whereas YTD is a little different. So YTD is nothing but previous period YTD values plus current period periodic values. Okay, these two will be coming here, and this 250 plus 200 will be coming here. Okay, so this is the only difference. So for planning we always go the periodic, for consolidation we always go the YTD format. Okay, this is a data storage types. We have two, one is a periodic, another one is a YTD. Okay, and understanding of master data. Okay, let's go to system and see how to create a models. Okay, how to create models. So once you connect to the web interface, you'll be able to see this screen and select administration. Once you select administration, left side you can see dimensions and models. So if you want to do something on top of dimensions, select this. And if you want to do something on top of models, you can select this. Or from this screen also you can change. Okay. So models, these four models are delivered by SAP. We can use these models or we can create our own models. Okay, so in real time what we do is we don't disturb these four models. We'll be creating our own models for our planning purpose. Let me show you one model. So planning model, see here. So these are the dimensions in this models, and this is a description, and the type is a financial. So I said there are three types, right? Standard, finance and consolidation. This is a finance type model, and the data entry mode, periodic or YTD. Okay, so we need to select this, and type, as it is a finance model, the prerequisite model is exchange rates, right? So we discussed that rates model is a prerequisite for a finance model. So model containing exchange rates, this is a rates model. Okay, so on the remaining things in the coming session I'll be explaining you. Okay, so this is about model. Let me create one new model. Okay, so click on new. First step is we need to provide ID and description. Let me create one model as a OPEX plan. Okay, ID and description. And the second step, so we have here two options. One is a blank model, another one is an existing model. blank model and an existing model. Just like environment, while we create environment, so what we did, we used existing model, that is a environment shell, and we copied it, right? In the same way here also there are two options. You can go with a blank model or you can go with an existing model. Okay, and not like this environment here. Even if you select an existing model, you can restrict whatever you want to copy and all. Okay, so the best practice is always go with an existing model. Go with an existing model, but I'll show you both the ways. If I go with a blank model, what happens? If I go with an existing model, what happens? Okay, first let's select an existing model, then it will display the existing model. So we have four models, right, already. So I am selecting planning type model, and if I select blank, nothing, we need to click on next. Okay, if I select an existing model, then select planning and click on next. So here automatically it will pick that configuration. So we have seen planning model, right? It was a finance type model, so it automatically selected finance. So these are the model types: reporting and drivers and rates. These are the three types: standard, finance, consolidation, exchange rates, ownership, generic. Okay, I can change it here now. Okay, even though I selected as a existing model, I can change it to any type. Okay, so let's go with the finance only. And if I select standard, watch carefully, right side part is changing. If I select standard, data entry mode is a periodic and YTD. Two options are there, but we always go with the periodic. And key figure length. So normal key figure will be fine. The only difference between these two is if you put cursor here, you'll be able to see that. The normal key figure means before, like decimal points will be there, right, in the transactional data amount. So before before decimal points, it allows 13 digits, and after decimal point, it allows 7 digits. Total 20 digits. Okay, if I choose large, before decimal point, it supports 24 digits. After decimal point, 7 digits. So we always go with a normal, but if clients say we want to go with a large, then we go with a large. Okay, so if I select standard, so there is no need of selecting rates model. If I select finance, see the extra thing is coming, model containing exchange rates. Okay, as of now we have only one rates model, that's why it is giving only one in the drop down. If we have a multiple rates models, then in the drop down we can see multiple. And if I select consolidation, one more thing will be added, that is ownership. See, ownership model. Okay, so if I select standard, only data entry mode. If I select finance, rates model is adding. If I select consolidation, ownership is also getting added. Okay, that's why I said for finance, rates is a prerequisite. For consolidation, rates and ownership are prerequisite. Okay, let's go with the finance type model. And if I select exchange rates, no prerequisites, just like a standard model. Okay, and ownership and generic. Okay, only for these two models prerequisites are there. Okay, let's select finance type model and click on next. And as I selected existing model, that's why it automatically get that dimensions, whatever is there in that model, it automatically is picking all those dimensions. If I want, I can remove. Okay, I can remove dimensions, or I can add new dimensions. See, as it is a finance type model, 5 dimensions are mandated, right? Account, category, entity, currency, and time. Let's say if I remove, as of now, next is enabled, right? If I remove time, next is disabled. It is saying, giving a warning saying that you must select one dimension with the following type, time. Okay, if I remove all these things, see, it is saying, so as it is a finance type model, we need to have account, category, entity, currency, time. 5 dimensions are mandatory. Okay, account I selected, and category I'm selecting. Okay, see, and I mentioned yesterday, in a model we cannot have a two dimensions with the same type. Two standard type dimensions. Okay, so we have two entity type dimensions, right? One is entity, another one is a cost center. If I select entity, see, cost center is disabled. It will not allow us to add cost center. Okay, if I remove this, if I select cost center, entity is disabled. Okay, so standard type dimensions we can have only one in model. User defined dimensions we can include multiple. Okay, so I'm selecting entity, and remaining currency and time also we need to select. Report currency is a currency type or and time. Now next is enabled, and this is the thing. So when I go with existing model, from the source model, the only thing is data managers will be copied. Data manager packages will be copied. So what are these data manager packages? Data manager packages will be used to import, for data loading purpose. Okay, to import the data from SAP, non-SAP, or from flat files and all, we need data manager packages. Okay, if we go with an existing model, then the data manager packages which are there in the existing model will be copied to our new model, and later we can delete, or we can add more data manager packages, or we can modify the existing data manager packages, or we can delete the data manager packages. Okay, so there is option, you can delete, remove anything, but creation of a data manager packages is a difficult task. Like, everything we need to create from the scratch, it is a difficult. Instead, if you have already, we can easily customize, or we can, if you don't require, you can remove it. Okay, that is the easy task, right? So that is the only reason we go with an existing model. So if we select existing model, data manager packages will be copied from the source model to the new model. That is the only reason we go with an existing model. If I click on next, it will display the model name, and what are all the dimensions in that model, and what is the type, and what are all the copied items. Okay, if I click on create, it will create model. Let's go back and select blank model here. Click on next. Then we need to select standard or finance or consolidation, just like that. Let's say if I select standard, if I go to next, so everything is not there. Right side we need to select. Okay, so as it is a standard, 4 are mandatory: account, category, entity, time. Okay, let me select account, category, entity, time. Then next is enabled. Okay, if I go back and select finance type, and 5 are mandatory, so we have selected only 4. Now currency, it is asking for currency also. Now next is enabled. If I go back and select consolidation model and go to next, then apart from 5, the 4 other remaining 4 standard types are also mandatory: audit trail, group, intercompany, subtables. So for a standard model, account, category, entity, time is a mandatory. For finance type, currency is also mandatory, 5 dimensions. For consolidation type model, 9 standard dimensions are mandatory. Okay, let's say, if I select finance here, and let's go to next and next, see here, copy from the source, nothing is there, because no content will be copied to the new model, because you started from a blank model. Okay, so as we selected blank model in the second step, nothing will be copied to the new model. So that is the only difference. Okay, so what I do is, I'll go with an existing model. So this is a OPEX plan model. So next I'm selecting an existing model. I'm selecting planning, and then next. So I don't need intercompany, I don't need audit trail, I don't need product. Okay, these five are the dimensions I am adding to this model, and data manager packages will be copied because we selected an existing model, and click on create. It will create new model now. It is creating new model. So see, now we have total 5 models: consolidation, OPEX underscore plan, ownership, planning. So this is the model we created, type with financial. Okay, if I open this, I can see these are the dimensions, and this is a description. Rates model is this, and data entry mode is a periodic, type is a finance. Okay, so we have created one model. So you can, while practicing, you can create different models. Okay, and this is how we create models. And so this we have seen in the system and data storage types. And in tomorrow's session we'll try to understand the hierarchy concept. In tomorrow's system we'll try to understand the hierarchy concept and the differences between transactional data and master data. Okay, that's all from my end for today's session. We have created a dimension, and we have discussed how to add properties and how to add members, and we have discussed the difference between save and process. Okay, if you click on save, the changes will be saved to application level. If you click on save and process, changes will be updated to database. And we have discussed models, two types: reporting and drivers and rates. Under reporting, we have three: standard, finance and consolidation. Under rates, supporting type dimensions, we have rates, ownership and generic. So, and we have discussed what is the purpose of each the model. Standard will be used for simple planning scenario, finance will be used for complex planning scenarios where we need currency conversion, and consolidation will be used for legal consolidation and management consolidation. Rates will be used to store exchange rates, ownership will be used to store ownership information, and generic will be used to store historical data. And what are all the mandatory dimensions for each model we have discussed. Okay, anyone have any questions from today's session or previous sessions? Anyone? Hafiz, Naveen, Raghav, Ramadevi, Srivani, Chandra?
Mahendra, one question.
Yes, Naveen.
Hello.
Yes, Naveen.
Even though finance model is periodic,
Huh.
even though financial model is periodic, I think it is supporting when we create the model. I think both options are coming, right? Periodic and
Yes,
YTD.
correct. Yeah, it will give, but we
So
always go with the
means
periodic. Yeah, you can select any data type, any data storage type, periodic or YTD, but for planning we always go with the periodic. We will select periodic. For YTD, for consolidation we select YTD.
okay. So if I select for a planning, financial planning, YTD, what will happen? How
Always
the data will store?
everything
It
will,
will store in the YTD.
yeah, it will store in YTD format. But generally for planning, business don't like to see the values in YTD. But in the reports they can see. Okay, in the reports they can see. So once we start creating input forms and reports, you will be able to understand. In the reports, even though data storage type is a periodic, in the reports they get this option YTD. If they want to see their values in YTD, they can see. But while entering the data, it always
Okay.
consider periodic if you select data storage type as a periodic. But in the reports, they can see
Okay.
periodic
Can we say
data
that?
repeated.
Yeah.
Yes, Naveen.
Can we say that technically system will support for financial planning also?
Yeah,
YTD will support, but generally we go for periodic.
correct.
Technically, it will support,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. So for end users also, for planning purpose, if in February if they are entering 150, they can easily understand. If they want to enter summation of 100 plus 150 as a 200, 250, it will be not comfortable for end user, right? For planning purpose. That's why data storage we go with the periodic, but in the reports they can see periodic type or YTD or QTD also they can see in reports. But while entering the plan data,
Okay.
we go with the periodic. That is why we call it as a data storage type. But in the reports, you can have different views.
Okay. Okay. And
Anyone?
also
Yeah.
regarding the simple planning,
Hmm.
can we say that simple planning is almost same as demand planning in SAP? Demand planning also without currencies it will work,
Hmm.
like quantity flow like that. So can we say that simple planning is almost similar to demand planning
Correct.
in
Correct.
APO?
Only difference between these two is a currency conversion. That's it. Standard model don't support
Yeah,
currency
yeah. In
conversion.
simple planning we don't have.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah. In simple planning we don't have any currency, right? So
correct. Let's say if a business is planning for product quantity sales, like number of products they want to sell. Okay, if business is planning for product quantity,
yes.
then we don't require a currency conversion, right? It will be always talking about a quantity, number of products. So then we go with the standard model also, not required finance model. But wherever they require
Yes, yeah.
currency
Even in
conversion,
AP,
yeah, correct.
yeah, even in APO demand planning, it's totally purely based on quantity flow.
Correct.
There is no value base.
Hmm.
So in those scenarios, we can leverage the
That's
BPC standard model, and then we can use
use
this one.
standard model, correct. And one more thing, have everyone started exploring reading this documents or the internet, or please start. Okay, so from yesterday onwards we started practical sessions, right? So without any delay, start practicing and ask questions in the class. Okay, and if you are feeling shy, or if you feel like maybe this question maybe a silly question, don't think in that way. You can write email also to me. Okay, so I'm sharing recordings with you, right? So you can reply to that email also. I'll be answering you.
Also, Mahendra, can you share this document also, because this document is like whatever document you are referring when we are doing this, it is having step by step, right? So it will be very
Correct.
useful
I
for us.
follow this only for first 10 days because people will keep on joining, right? Some people may join on Monday also, just to have a track whatever I discussed for the previous sessions, just to give the backup for those. I maintained only for 10 days. After 10 days, I'll be going by topic wise. So anyway, I can share this with you people. Okay. By over the weekend, I'll share this. I'll
Okay,
try to
okay,
add
thank you.
more details, and I'll share this with you over the weekend.
Yeah, it gives us good idea. Like
Correct, I
we can
understand.
read this one. Basics will be much better. Yeah.
Okay, I'll share for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else have any other questions? Okay, thank you everyone. Have a nice day. See you on tomorrow.
Thank you, Mahendra.